welcome to the magnificent Masai Mara. My name is Brent. I have sent he's the boys from the Para on the vehicle together today for the in Kenya. Who would have thought two boys from Maritzburg would be on safari in the Masai Mara, bringing you live wildlife? If you want to ask any questions, hashtag Safari Live on Twitter. Now, we're slowly making our way down the Olololo escarpment at the moment, and hoping to find the wonders that lie below. And at the moment, we've just got some zebras. So we'll stop next to them. The zebras are slowly moving their way from, well, this is the resident zebras, are slowly moving their way from their wet season grazing, which is on the escarpment and above. And every day we find them a little bit lower, a little bit lower. And here we go. We're about halfway down the escarpment at the moment. It's quite an interesting ride. Okay, here we go. There we go. A beautiful group of zebra. And you can see the sun has risen in the east. And the zebras are enjoying the nice short grass here up halfway on the escarpment. Now, here we go. Now, zebras are bulk grazers, so they're not so fussy, but they do like good sweet grasses. Unfortunately for them, the Mara is full of sweet grass. Well, there's a warthog disappearing in front of us to the right, slightly sense. There he is. Or to the right of the last zebra. Hello, pig. But as I say, we've got the whole Mara ahead of us, and we're going to go have a look what we can find. Well, welcome back, and sorry about the gremlins that are happening today, and it seems to be both in the Mara and Djuma, but don't worry, our tech team is on it. We're going to start making our way towards the south a little bit. There were two cheetah in that area yesterday, so I am hoping that they'll still be around. And who knows, we're also heading into the musketeer territory. So Scar, Siku, Hunter and Morani, four of the biggest male lions in this area. So very exciting times as always. Now the nice thing now is we're on Pucker's second field run. And here comes a balloon truck. Morning, balloon truck. Hi. Hope you had a good balloon safari. Oh, dusty, dusty. Okay. So you can see this line of trees up in front of us. It's the Mara River. And we're going to slowly make our way down towards there. And who knows what wonders await. Now, the one thing I'm very excited about while being able to drive in is it's on its second field test. I took it on a village test yesterday. We drove around quite a bit and everything seemed to be working grandly. So we're now on its second live field test. And the thing I'm very excited, I'm sure quite a few of you are very excited about, is the fact now that it's much easier for us to do a bit of bird watching. So it's not all about the big hairies and scaries, and we're going to see what wonderful birds are around, and there are plenty. Now in the grassland areas, we're going to be looking for cisticulars, rufous-naped larks, plain-backed pipits, if we're really lucky, a rosy-throated longclaw. And remember, hashtag Safari Live if you've got any questions for us. Now, while we meander down towards the Mara River, we've got a large grey pachyderm back at Djuma with Taylor. Welcome back to Kenya. Now, we've got one of my favourite creatures since I've been here, and it is the male Thompson's gazelle. Hello, funny looking. I just think they're so cute. They've got such long little tails, and of course the amount of flies here, they're constantly swinging away. How shame. He doesn't have any girlfriends, this particular individual. Now, I saw there was a big herd of Tommies in the distance, but obviously he can't compete with the other males. And these single Tommies by themselves are often quite vulnerable for predation from cheetah and leopard. Well, where he is at the moment, not too much from a leopard out in the open grassland, but from a cheetah, definitely. And there we go. You can see how wide and open it is around here. Fuzzman Sparkles is wondering, what is the chance of seeing klipspringers in the Mara? It's pretty good if we work around some of the granite outcrops and that, and the volcanic rocks. I'm sure we'll see them at some point. It's one of the few animals I haven't seen yet. Quickly across to Taylor. Well, that's how Tuesday mornings are meant to be if you're a lion. Isn't that a very comfortable looking lioness? Now there's looked like another few behind her in the croton thickets. But there we go, there she's moved her head. Now we spotted her from quite a long way away. And I was like, well, I have not seen any big white stumps or roots in this area. So it looks to be a member of the Paradise Pride. Hello, girlie. Now, there's one very cool lioness, and she's not too old from the way she looks, and she's completely blind in her left eye, but I can't really see from here whether that is a paradise lioness or not, whether it is the one who's blind in her eye. And you can see she's lying up on a little rocky area, lots of big boulders in between us. Hello, girl. There we go. Hi, Alison. Alison's wondering if anyone's got a compiled list of all the cats in the Mara. There are different compiled lists. I wouldn't say a complete list for all the big cats in the Mara, but don't worry, Alison, we're on it. Jamie and I have been compiling ID kits, etc., for each individual lion that we find. Sometimes it is a bit challenging, like at the moment where they're too far away that we can get a good ID photograph that we can work out from whisker spots or ear notches or scars, who they are, but we're starting to get a much better idea of the different lions around here. Well, she doesn't look like she's too full. She just looks like it's quite chilly this morning. You can see the wind is quite strong. She looks like she's just really enjoying the morning sun. Now, in the early mornings, it's not uncommon to find the lions lying out in the open here, basking in the glorious high altitude sunshine. I'm just going to move a little. If you look a little bit to the left, in the shade, there's actually a cub. Okay, there we go. It looks like a cub. Yes, I'm almost certain this is definitely Paradise Pride, just from where we are, and I have seen cubs of that age with them before. So there we go. Now, as I said, there could be as many as, well, there's 9 lionesses in total in the Paradise Pride, but the most I've ever seen together is 5. But they do come and go and move from each other, and let me just try to remember how many cubs they have in total. They've got a lot, 9 or 10 cubs, 9 adult lionesses, and then of course the dominant male coalition for this Paradise Pride is of course the musketeers. I was hoping there might be a musketeer about with the lounging lady, and there's definitely another lioness behind her, but I can't really see, and you can just see that pale through the bush. Oh, heads up. Oh, she is pretty. Well, she's not the one who's missing an eye. Come on, time to get up and go moving. Tim says it looks breezy. Indeed it is, Tim. The breeze has been belting through the Mara. It's actually a little bit less than it was yesterday. Yesterday morning, while we were doing tests and trying to get everything up and running, we were faced with a howling gale. I'm just going to move forward a tiny bit, see if we can see any other cats there. Now, you always got to look carefully, because they can be lying all over the place. Well, Rebecca is wondering, are lions the only animals that can sleep without fear? Rebecca, I would would say the only animal that can truly sleep without fear, not human beings, elephants. And the only thing they have to fear is human beings, which is not a problem here. So there we go. We can see a little bit further onto that rock now, and we can now see at least another lioness, but there could be a few more. Okay, so there's a cub, and that looks like another adult lioness lying at the back there. As I said, there could be quite a few more in the thickets. Now, the Paradise Pride are specialists at wildebeest, as the poor wildebeest run the gauntlet of the Mara River, and a few of them get snacked upon by those giant dinosaurs, the Mara crocodiles. And as they think all is safe and they leap out of the other side, alas, the Paradise Pride awaits on both banks. So the lions here will cross the river regularly. Anne is wondering if I'm ever afraid of ever being attacked by a lion. And I'm not. I have a very healthy respect for lions, but while I'm in a vehicle, I have no fear of being attacked by a lion. And also, if a lion started showing signs of aggression, I would give them more space. It's all about reading the individual animal's behavior on the day, because like us, animals can have bad days and good days, but generally lions are not concerned at all with vehicles, and even on foot. As long as you're not wandering around in the darkness, you will be fine. So human beings have been... Sorry, I'm just playing with the radio, which we are testing as well today. Whoopsie, wrong button. Which we're testing as well today. And hopefully it'll be all up and running perfectly shortly. So I'm saying with at least 2 adult lionesses, I'm saying there's at least another 3 or 4 cubs of that age with this pride. Animals and Reports is wondering, how old is this pride? Well, I'd say the average age of the female in the pride is probably between 6 and 10, but I haven't been here long enough, and I haven't found any information yet on how old the Paradise Pride or how long the Paradise Pride's been around. So that is the type of information we are collecting at the moment, and the lion researchers are currently away, and when they're back, Jamie and I will be going across to have a meeting with them, and hopefully we'll have more information like that, how long the Paradise Pride's been in existence, etc. And, well, I don't think these lions are going to do too much looking at them, lounging in the lovely sunlight. We're going to move a little bit, see if we can get a better visual. While we do that, I know someone else is searching for a visual of a different type of cat. We've left the lions lying up not too far from here. Now, quite often, when I found the Paradise Pride before, Scar, or one of the other musketeers, hasn't been too far off. So I just want to go check one of the river crossings and look around the thickets close to the river. Maybe, fingers crossed, there could be one of those big boys there. Remember, #Safari Lion if you've got any questions for us. Now, there's also a particularly large crocodile that lives at this crossing. Now, I'm sure some of you are wondering whether the lions are at risk when they cross the river to the crocodiles. And of course they are. A crocodile is an opportunist, but the lions tend to cross in the rapids where it's a little bit shallower. And this year the river is very low, so they've got a good chance of not being snacked upon. Let's just have a quick look here. Just want to check on both sides of the river around these thickets, because you never know if old Scar is lying on the other side. And maybe we'll get lucky and see the big crocodile as well. Now, I have I've seen that very big croc in this area. Last time I saw him, he was lying over here. Iwi is wondering, when does the Great Migration start? Well, it never stops, Iwi, to be honest. It is a continuous movement of animals between Kenya and Tanzania, and between the Serengeti and the Mara. And I can't see any big crocs just yet. Let's keep checking. And the first section of the migration have already crossed from Tanzania into Kenya around the Sand River, which is about 30 kilometers to the southeast of us. We have been there, and we have seen them, so we will be definitely heading back in that direction. Now, mostly consisting of zebras. Now that is interesting. That is very interesting. Oh. Just want to be careful around here. Don't want to be too close. Sens, can you get that large hole? Now, I noticed a bunch of flies that came out of that hole, and those flies are specific to one type of animal who's at home by the looks of things, and you can actually almost see there's a very narrow drain flows into the hole, and I would say there's an aardvark in there right this very minute. And of course, once we get all our nocturnal kit set up, it's going to be very exciting, because I think we're going to see a lot of aardvarks out here. There are many of them, and once we're out at the right times of the day, I think we're going to be very lucky in aardvarks. Okay, let's keep going up. Where are the crocodiles today? It's cold, you're supposed to be sunbasking. Now, you've got to be very careful when you drive around the edge of the Mara River. It's a very active riverbank, so it's continuously collapsing, so you don't want to get too close. Otherwise, you might join the migration feast, or be an early snack for a crocodile. Oh, there's a yellow-billed stork. Oh, he's going to go around the corner. Let me go back a bit. Well, it seems all the crocs are still in the water at the moment. You got him there. Oh, there we go. Yellow-billed stork. And it's done a disappearing act. Hawkeye is wondering, why are we in an open vehicle? Well, Hawkeye, it's much better to spot animals from. It's much better to film from. We don't have all the stuff impeding in your way. We do have a shade roof above us. There we go. So, open vehicles have been used in Africa for many, many years. Now, lions and other creatures, they don't see the vehicles. See, there we go, we're all open all around us. As anything that really is a major threat or attack to them, vehicles have only been around for about 100 years, or just over, and the lions do not have an instinctive response to them. So as long as you drive carefully and considerately and don't push the animals, you can get very, very close, much closer than you would on foot. Now, of course, the bipedal figure of man has been the dominant diurnal predator for the last 300,000 years. And 300,000 years, so there's been competition between man and lion. Lion is the dominant nocturnal predator. Is that a rock? Was that another lion? It's a rock. And so, what are you looking at, Parlors? Nothing. And so on foot, lions during the day will run away from you. At night, they will eat you. So it is a very, very interesting thing. Now, of course, that's every situation slightly different, and you've got to read each individual situation. Now, I was really hoping for Scar and them. And now someone was asking, is there any particular pride I would really like to see? Ooh, that's a good question. So I've seen the Ridge Pride, I've seen the Paradise Pride, the Ngama Pride, the Olololo Pride, the Sausage Pride, and it was James who was asking that question. The Olololo Pride, what other prides have I seen? I've seen the Ronkai Pride, I think the pride I like most to see is the border pride, which is down south. Very, very big pride. Lots of cubs, lots of lions, but they do move into Tanzania, and I just really like that area around the Tanzanian border, especially up against the escarpment. It's absolutely exquisite. The acacias come down, you got these big boulders that have rolled off. So I think just to see, and that's why I like the sausage pride so much, is because they often use those boulders up along the escarpment. Okay, well, I don't think we're going to go back to the paradise pride. They're lying just on the other side of this little thicket here, and I don't think they're going to be doing too much. And unfortunately, this is the same area where the cheetah was in yesterday, but with the lions around here, I think that cheetah has made itself scarce. So I think it might have moved towards the Mogoro River, where the junction with the Mogoro and the Mara River is. So I'm going to head back that way, see what wonders await. While we do that, it seems like, unfortunately, Tingana has given Taylor the slip. Okay, we've just seen a really skittish female leopard, and we're hoping to try get the first leopard on camera from the Mara. And she's just moved across the road. From a distance, she was already nervous and running, and she's moved into these little thickets here. I'm just going to try go forward a little bit. We might get luckier. Oh, I hope so. We might catch her as she moves between this section of thickets and the next one. Now, very skittish, very nervous. So, keeping distance, moving slowly. And she might have already just snuck through here without us being able to notice. The grass is quite long. Just saw her head pop up, ears in this thicket, and then I saw a tail around here. Let's try from here. Where'd you go, gorgeous? She looked quite young. Oh, I think she's made a proper disappearing act. I mean, we had tiny seconds of glimpses. I don't think we're going to see her again without stressing her out, so I'm not going to do that. I'm going to let her have her space. Oh, but that was so close. Well, I'm sure we will get a good leopard sighting soon. Paul is wondering, what is my favorite predator? Well, we all know what Tristan's favorite predator is. A leopard. Mine's a little bit more interesting, well, I think so. My favorite predator is the African wild dog. And I just find them absolutely fascinating. I also find them incredibly exciting to watch. Sorry, I'm just peering, hoping for a glimpse. But I think she's made her way into this bigger thicket here where we're not going to see her. So close, so close. But it's the African wild dog by a long way, Paul. Now, unfortunately, I know Tristan's been giving you some birds. The wind is quite strong today, but who knows? I'm pretty sure I can find you a sooty chat or a rufous lark even in the wind. Come on! Oh, I really want to see that leopard again, but I don't think we're going to. So close. Now there is a relaxed one closer to camp that we have seen on occasion, but from a distance, in the no off-roading zone. But we will get her. We will get her. Paul, in the Mara, because wild dogs are very rare in the Mara, that I think, it's a difficult one. I don't know whether it's Cheetah. Cheetah could be my favorite predator in the Mara. And, although I do like the lions, and the lions it's such a difficult one. I do love them all, but wild dogs stick out the most. Now, a lot of people ask about bushwalk in the Mara, and there's a very important reason we don't do bushwalk in the Mara. You see him, there he is. Now, there are a huge amount of buffalo bulls spread throughout the Mara, and they are hidden in this long grass. And apart from that, the amount of hippo and the amount of elephant, it's just not a safe environment to conduct successful bushwalk. And out here in the Mara, we don't need the bushwalk because it is just such a fascinating place. There is so much to see just from the vehicle, and I said I'd find a rufous-naped lark. Now, I say they are the soundtrack of the Mara. Well, now you've got to do a different one, cheeky one. Here we go. The rufous-naped lark. You can see his little rufous crest is up. Oh. And literally wherever you are in the Mara, you're pretty much certain to hear, I find it a very, very pleasant call of the rufous-naped lark. There's the normal call in the background from another one. Okay, well, let's let him keep trying to attract some ladies. And we're moving on. Now, I'm going to try and stick a little bit closer to the river now, so we might find a few more birds. Now, of course, there are sooty chats everywhere. Everywhere except when you're looking for them. Now, as we leave that gnarled old buffalo bull, we're going to send you to one of his relatives who lives a little bit further south.
He does live much further south, and he's a very nervous boy, this chap. He was just having a drink of water back at Shibamo Pads, and he didn't quite like the sound of us as well, and he's head for the hills now. He's calmed down because he's walking away, but he did trot off in the beginning. And now he's hiding himself behind some vegetation. Let's see if he comes back, though. I think he was planning on wallowing here for most of the day, because on the top of his back you can see all the crusty mud. So that seems to be his favourite thing. He's not particularly old. I think he's still quite a young buffalo. He's not as sort of filled out and muscly as some of the other older boys are. I think he's still got a bit of growing to do, but a lovely fella nonetheless. No, he's moving away now. He's moving straight towards Treehouse Dam. It'll probably take him a while to get there. Perhaps he bumps into Tingana and chases Tingana up a tree. That wouldn't surprise me at all. I wish we could be there to see that. Maybe we see something like that this afternoon. Let's see if he's going to do a loop and just come straight back, because it opens up a bit. Maybe he's going to go to the other pan. What do you think, Fergus? I think he might too. And that's typical of buffalo, drinking early in the morning and later in the afternoon. If he just turns left again, then he's heading in the direction. Let's see if he's going there. Yeah, he is. Okay, let's make our move then. We'll try and go very quietly. Right, we're going to see if we can get another view of this buffalo bull. I'm going to send you across to Tristan, who has found an interesting bird.
Well, we do. This is a bird that you're not going to see that often, and of course it would fly away as soon as we get it, but there we go. Well done, Craig. So this is called a green-winged pytilia. Now, they are common birds. There's the male and female together, so you can see the brighter coloured male on the left and then the female on the right. And they used to be known as a Melba finch, for those of you that know the older names, and they then were changed to the green-winged pytilias. And they're a very sort of overlooked bird. They're very small and they tend to bounce around in thickets, and so you don't often see them as much as you would think. They are around a lot more and you hear them a lot, but it's quite nice that these two decided to spend a bit of time right out in the open right next to us. Now, we did have a beautiful golden-breasted canary as well, and that was around, but it seems to have vanished. It was kind of bouncing all over the place, and the colours on that particular bird were amazing. Now, I'm going to just try and see as we go forward here. We do have a jackalberry, which would also be a perfect place for birds, and it's amazing how many birds there are when you just sit for a little bit and kind of just look around for a while. And it's actually amazing how they start, as they move, you start picking them up. Before, you kind of think to yourself, oh, there's not too many here, and then as they sort of bounce around, they start to actually show themselves. But that was cool. There's a nice few birds, at least at the dam itself. Now, hopefully Wendy's going to behave herself and keep signal. Starlights. Well done. Bird number 100 with us. Well, what a good way to bring up your century with a beautiful little Melba finch, or Pytilia as we should call it these days. That's a nice bird to have. So congratulations on your 100th bird. It's always nice when you reach a milestone like that. And so I'm glad that you have, and hopefully we'll be able to onward, upward, and get you into the 200s. We'll have to probably wait a little bit for the summer for that. Now, Wendy apparently is misbehaving, and so I need to be stationary again. And like I was saying, so hopefully by the summer months we'll be able to get your list to 200, because all the summer birds will start to arrive, and then it will be really good for birding. So hopefully that will be the case. Now, I'm trying to see if there's anything around us that we can talk about, because there's really not too much at this stage in the way of birds or animals. Now, at the end of the day, these kind of things do happen. So our gremlins have been particularly bad with Wendy, and I don't know what's wrong with her. I'm going to have a little word with her during the day, and I apologize that there's a big shadow right on my face. It's because the sun is exactly behind us, and it's not only blinding me, but creating horrible shadows all over the place. So what I might do is just try and see if I can't turn the car slightly so that we can have a situation where I don't have to stare into the sun, and, well, we don't have shadow all over my face. But I'm surprised that there's no animals that have come sort of wandering down towards the dam at this time of the day. It's now starting to get quite warm, and we're finding that the sun has got a bit of a bite to it, and I would have expected to see elephants and impalas and wildebeest and varying other sort of antelope species starting to come down towards the waterhole. So that's why we came down here, as we know that at least we get some signal, as well as the fact that we maybe would have found something coming down to drink. Ah, well, Brent seems to have had a lot more luck than we have had down here in South Africa, so let's go across to him. I believe he's with one of the biggest predators that we have.
Well, every single time I keep trying to look for birds, we find some more lions. And we found a few more lions under a shepherd's tree at the moment. I'm just going to go forward a little bit, just give the other vehicle some space. So there we go. Now, we're not very far at all from the last lions we saw. Remember, this is coming to you 100% live from Kenya. So this is live from the Masai Mara. Hashtag Safari Live if you want to ask us any questions. Now comes the conundrum. Are these another 3 paradise girls? Or are they, in fact, Mogoro girls? Now, I have a theory that these 2 prides are the same. If not, they're very closely related and they're a splinter of each other. Let me just go try to get a bit forward. But until we've got ID shots of all the individual INSs, there's that radio again. It's going to be quite difficult for us to determine. Now, how we actually found these lions, let me just reposition here. Is because of the turpie, and often called the policemen of the Masai Mara, because they are so vigilant and they're sitting on top of those termite mounds watching everything. Now, we saw a group of topies staring at this shepherd's tree, and there's not much shade around this particular area, so we thought, I wonder what's there. I was hoping it was those cheetah, but alas, it's 3 adult lionesses who are quite well fed. So the topi are in no danger, but you just see those round bellies appearing out of the grass. Now, of course, not knowing all the lions is quite an exciting thing, and it's lots of fun getting to be able to work it out. Now, even if the Mogoro and Paradise prides are separate prides, they are still dominated by the same coalition, the Musketeers. And I have seen the Musketeers mating with these 3 lionesses, but as I say, until I can definitely get ID photos of all of them from both sides of the river, it's going to be a little bit of guesswork, but that's half the fun. Oh, there's an ostrich, Senzo. Quite a long way away. And you see, up against the mountain there, there's a single male ostrich. There he is. Hello, full strace. Watch out, there's some lions in the area. Now, the ostriches are preyed on by lion and cheetah, and leopard if they can get their hands on it. Hyenas will go after their nests, but I haven't ever heard of hyenas actually attacking an awake, alive, and mobile ostrich. Now, you guys listen carefully, you can hear lots of rufous nape larks calling all over the place. As I say, when I find the lionesses, I'll always do a double take, check every little area, just in case one of the big boys is here. But again, I think like the Paradise Pride, they are not going to do anything, and they are right in the shade. Lynn, the two sets of lines we've seen this morning, Lynn is wondering how far apart. Probably about 2 kilometers. And the Paradise Pride generally concentrates on the main set of crossings. What people are calling the Magoro Pride, as I said, I'm not convinced that they're not part of the Paradise Pride. I think if they're not, they're very, very close relation, maybe a splinter from the Paradise as the Paradise got bigger. And they up from cul-de-sac crossing, they go towards the Magoro River. Now again, I was hoping that the cheetah might have moved this way, but I think with the amount of lion, if the cheetahs spotted any of them, they would have made themselves quite scarce. Oh, some buffalo in the grass not far away from the lions, but of course these lions, the females, especially 3 females, tend to avoid buffalo at all costs, and since I've been here, I've only really seen the males focusing on the buffalo. Okay, now let us carry on. Let us see what wonders await. I can't really try and find a sooty chat for you, just so we can have a chat about him being so sooty. Not snooty, sooty. So he's very dark black, almost like he's been used to clean a chimney. But they are very, very cool birds. The males have little white patches on their shoulders, and normally you see quite a lot of them as you move through the grasslands. And of course, long claws. We get both yellow-throated and rosy-throated. Ooh, a very exciting one. That is quite a big tick for a lot of birders. The rosy-throated or rosy-breasted long claw. Oh, finchlarks in the road. Oh, that's a female. Okay, a little bit to the left. Come out there to the left. There we go. Look at that. That's definitely a new one for everyone's Kenya bird list. How cool does he look? Now that is a finchlark. Oh, he's gone. And as I was saying, we get a few finchlarks here. Oh. But, sorry, we don't get a few finchlarks here. We get some finchlarks in other places in southern Africa. Let me just... Is it a finchlark? What is it? It's either a finchlark or a sparrowlark. Sorry, I'm getting mixed up between sparrows and lark. There we go. That it is. There's a few species you get in East Africa, and this one is Fisher's sparrowlark. What have you found? What has Senzo found? Wow, that's another rufous-napped lark. So Fisher's sparrowlark. So you can see that very distinct white ear patch. Oh, they're back, Senzo. No need to show you on an app when we can see the real live bird over there. Okay. Well, those are females. Now, where's the male? So the male is very, very quite. There we go. The male's in front. Oh, there he is. Oh. He's quite a lot more distinct. And I think that's definitely, there's another little female. A lovely new species, I'm sure, for a lot of our avid birders for their Kenya list. The Fisher's sparrowlark, not finchlark. Vicky Vicky says, I think we call them sparrows here. Well, Vicky, sparrows and sparrow larks are different. Let me see if I can find the male again. There he is to the right. There we go. It sends you on him. So there's the male. So it looks similar to a sparrow, but it's also got lots of sort of attributes that it shares with the larks. Where the sparrows, you don't really find them too often out in the open grasslands, where that is a lark's favorite place. So unlike a lot of the larks, that they do live in little groups, and the males will chase around females, but I think they're just very cool little birds. Okay, there we go. Yay! That's another one that is a grassland special that I've been trying to find, and it is so wonderful being in Paka because we are able to bird, unlike in Chiku where we have to like pop up and down like banded mongoose popping out of their holes. Now we're going to keep looking for the sooty, chat and other wonderful birds, and of course cheetah and everything else. While we do that, let's go see how Madam McCurdy is faring back on Djuma.